Hi, Angie here from mynexttablet.com. Today with a couple of tips and tricks about the Samsung Galaxy Tab A9 series. I've got the A9 and A9 Plus here. And among other things, I will tell you which pen I'm using with these tablets since the S Pen is not supported. Alright, let's start with the best tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy Tab A9 series. They are mostly the same for the Galaxy Tab A9 8-inch and A9 Plus 11-inch. There are some differences, but if there's a difference, then I will tell you about it. And the first trick is that you can actually deactivate this taskbar here at the bottom. Google introduced it with Android 12L, and now pretty much all tablets have it. I think it looks quite nice, especially on an 11-inch device, but on an 8-inch device it can sometimes look a bit cramped. So if you want to deactivate it, you go to the settings, and then you go to display, and there you will see, if you scroll down a bit, the taskbar. You can turn it on like it is now, or you can turn it off, and then it's gone and it's replaced by those three typical Android buttons. And the same, by the way, on the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus. You can turn it on again and off again. And then if you don't want to use those buttons, maybe you want to use gestures instead, you go to the navigation bar, and here you can decide between button and gestures, but also you can change the order of those buttons. And that's quite nice. Another nice feature is that you can turn off the tablet and turn on the tablet by tapping the screen twice. It works very nicely, and to turn on or off this feature, you go to the settings again, you go to advanced features, to motions and gestures, and here you can toggle on or off, double tap to turn on and double tap to turn off the screen. A very nice feature. Sadly, these tablets don't have a fingerprint scanner, but they do have facial recognition, which I'm going to demonstrate on the A9 Plus here. It unlocks the screen quite nicely. However, there's no additional sensor next to the webcam, so there's just webcam used for it, which is not very secure. But if you want to turn it on, you go to the settings again, and then you scroll down a bit to security and privacy, to biometrics, and to face recognition. You've got to register a face, put in a PIN first, and then you can start the face recognition process. It has to register your face, and it works pretty much like on your phone or so, quite quickly. And then you can unlock this tablet with facial recognition. And unless you've got something very important and very secretive on your tablet, I think it's secure enough. But somebody could print out a photo of you and use that. Both tablets have a couple of very nice multitasking features, and I want to demonstrate them now. So we start the Chrome browser, and maybe you want to Google something and at the same time watch a YouTube video. Now, what you can do is just drag this YouTube app from the taskbar next to it, either here or at the bottom, you can choose, and then two apps are opened next to each other, YouTube and Chrome. You can switch between those apps by pressing here, and you can also change the orientation of those windows. So it's quite a nice feature. If you do a lot of multitasking, it will be worth it for you to get the 8GB RAM version. I've got the 4GB RAM version. Now, another very nice feature is that you can even open another app on top of that in a so-called pop-up view. To do that, you drag again an app and place it here in the middle. By the way, you can also open another app. So I have three apps open on the same time, but I want to show you the pop-up view now. And if you have it open, you can have a free-floating app in a free-floating window, and you can put it anywhere you want. So now we've got three apps open at the same time, and they are live apps, so they are constantly working. And you can see this entry-level tablet struggling a little bit with it, also because there are some videos playing, like here, you see it. So another nice feature with this pop-up view is that if you tap here on the top, you can change a couple of things. and you can adjust the transparency of this window. Now we can see the video, for example, even though this app is opened, just it's a bit transparent. This can be very handy, for instance, if you're a student and you need to write down some notes while you're watching a lecture, it can be a nice feature to use. This is the transparency feature. Now you can access all those multitasking features another way. So we tap on those three lines here, we tap on a button, and then we can select open in split screen view. So we open Chrome on one side and then we will open YouTube on the other side. And the same is possible with the pop-up view. Again, we press on these three lines and then we can open YouTube in a pop-up view. And now it's opened like this. We can start a video and then we can adjust the transparency again. I think it's a quite cool feature that can be useful for some. Knowing how to take screenshots is also very useful, and there are two ways to do it. You can press the power button and the volume down button together quite shortly, don't hold them too long, and then a screenshot is taken and you can even annotate it. Now I have to take it again because it will disappear after a while. Here you can start to annotate it. You can select a different type of pen and adjust the color and then write something on that screenshot. You can then share it or just save it. The second way of taking a screenshot is quite cool. You can just take your hand and you swipe along the screen and then a screenshot is taken, and you can also open it in the gallery if you want. And that's how you take screenshots on the Galaxy Tab A9 series. Our authors at My Next Tablet are so amazing that sometimes you will just be lying in bed late at night reading articles like the best shopping list apps or other articles. That can be a bit straining on your eyes. Now, to save your eyes, you can turn on the Eye Comfort Shield, which is basically a blue light filter. It filters out the blue light and gives you a nice yellowish white where the blue is filtered out, and it should make you fall asleep easier and get tired easier at night. It should just be nicer for your eyes. Now, if you want to be nice to your eyes even more, you can turn on the dark mode. Same here with the quick settings. You open them by swiping down, go to dark mode, and then everything turns dark, and at least if it's supported. Chrome supports it, My Next Tablet does not, but other apps, for example the Google Play Store, support it, and then here also everything is dark and it's very nice for your eyes. That's the dark mode. Another cool feature I will show you is called Side Dock, which is basically the dock you can swipe up from the side. That's why it's called Side Dock. And with that you can quickly open an app or also open two apps side by side again. Now you can use it in addition to this taskbar here at the bottom, and the function is basically the same, giving you quick access to apps. This is the feature from Samsung and this is the feature from Google. Now you can turn on or off both of those by going to the settings, then we go to display, and you can turn off the, now it's called edge panels, turn it off and then there's nothing coming. Or you can turn it on again and then you can swipe here and you get access to those apps. You can change them. You can put any app in it just by dragging it like this. And then there's another app in it. And then if we swipe it, there are more apps listed here. So that's a pretty cool feature that you can use or not. Now, both tablets don't have the best battery life. It's okay, but certainly not the best. If you want to improve the battery life a bit, there are a couple of things that you can do. First of all, with the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus that I have here in my hands right now, you can go to Display, to Motion Smoothness, and you can set it from up to 90 Hz to 60 Hz, which is the standard refresh rate of most screens. And when you reduce it from 90 Hz to 60 Hz, it uses a bit less energy, and so the battery will last a bit longer. However, I think 90 Hz look nicer, so I will leave it at 90 Hz. And personally, I like to use the other energy saving methods. And for that, we have to search for battery and device care. Also in the settings, we go to battery, and then we can turn on power saving. And when we turn it on, everything gets dark. We get another home screen here. It's all reduced and it should save our battery. It should last us 8 days and 12 hours now, which is quite long. But as you can see, it reduces the functionality quite a bit. So we turn off power saving mode and we again go to the settings now and take a closer look at this power saving mode, because you can configure it to be not so restricting as we've just seen. For that, again, we go to battery and device care, to battery, and then we go here on power saving and we turn off limit apps and home screen, because I don't want this black interface that we've seen. If we turn it off, the only thing that the power saving mode does is reduce the CPU speed to 70%, which is still fast enough for browsing the web, using messengers and so on, maybe not for high-end gaming. And we also decrease the brightness by 10% automatically. And when we do that, we turn it on, the screen gets a bit darker, the performance gets a bit slower, but we can still pretty much use it like a normal tablet without that reduced mode. Let's turn it off again and let's take a look at more battery settings, because one thing that is very interesting is the feature here called Protect Battery. When you turn it on, the maximum charge of this battery only goes to 85% of its original capacity. By not letting it charge to 100%, it saves the battery in the long term. It should take better care of it, and the lifespan of your battery should be exceeded, made longer by it, extended. So that's a pretty cool feature if you want to extend the battery life of your tablet as long as possible. For example, if you plan to use it for more than 2 years, then I think it will make sense to turn it on. If you're the type of person that buys another tablet after 2 years anyway, or 2-3 years, then you don't have to turn it on. Then you can just use the full capacity of your battery if you like. Another feature that is really good to know that you can do it is that you can connect pretty much every mouse and pretty much every keyboard to both tablets, not just this A9 Plus, but also the standard A9. Now I've connected a very cheap mouse to it it's just a USB mouse using a USB A to C adapter, also a very cheap one, and also another very cheap Bluetooth keyboard. I can also use a wired keyboard, and both work just fine. The mouse works like any mouse does, and the keyboard also like any keyboard does. So you don't have to buy expensive keyboard covers or wait for expensive keyboard covers to come out. We still have this keyboard cover port on the A9 Plus, but up to date, I haven't seen any official keyboard cover from Samsung, or also not from third-party manufacturers. So until that is the case, or even if it's the case, you can just connect any mouse, any keyboard, or let's say almost any mouse or almost every keyboard. You cannot connect the Apple Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro, for instance, but every standard Bluetooth and standard USB keyboard and mouse you can connect. Now, if you like to connect a keyboard and mouse and want to get some proper work done, you can activate the Samsung DeX desktop mode that only the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus supports, but sadly not the standard A9. For this, you go to the quick settings and click on the DeX icon, and then the desktop mode starts. Basically, it transforms Android into a desktop operating system with a desktop like you know from Windows or macOS. So we've got a desktop, you can put apps or whatever on it. We've got a taskbar at the bottom, also a status bar here with notifications, battery, Wi-Fi stuff, and the date and calendar, quite similar to Windows as you can see. And then you can open apps in free floating windows. It works great with mouse and keyboard. Without mouse and keyboard, this desktop mode is not that useful, because then you can just use normal Android, which is optimized for touch. This is optimized for mouse and keyboard, and it works quite nicely. You can browse the web here in Chrome. You can put the window, resize it, or do with it whatever you want. You can also open another window in another free floating window like here, and you can have more and more apps open, all in free floating windows. We could open Lightroom, or let's open the Files app again. It's quite not so demanding for the processor. Now, if you use a lot of Samsung DeX and want some more heavy apps opened, then it will make sense again to use or to get the version with 8 GB of RAM, since this is still an entry-level tablet. But it works fine, as you can see, especially with standard stuff. By the way, you can also open some games in the desktop mode, but since Android games are not optimized for keyboard and mouse, it doesn't make that much sense. But some apps you can play just fine in the desktop mode. So this is Samsung DeX. To get out of it, you press on here and click Exit DeX, and then the desktop mode is being turned off and you get standard Android again. Both tablets don't support an active stylus, and you cannot use the S Pen or any S Pen on these tablets. That's very important to know. In fact, if you're looking for a great tablet for handwritten notes and to draw something, don't get these tablets. However, if you want to doodle a bit, or if you want to have just somebody sign their name, or if your child wants to draw a bit, or I gave this kind of pen to my grandmother, she can use it a bit easier than her fingers since she didn't grow up with tablets and still has to get used to it a bit. You can use this kind of pen. This is a capacitive stylus that works with pretty much every standard capacitive touchscreen. So with every phone, almost every tablet, and almost every touchscreen. It basically emulates your finger. It's just a little rubber thing here, soft rubber that emulates your finger. So it's not as precise as the S Pen would be, but you can draw a bit or write a bit. This is a test. Well, it's only as precise as your finger would be. It's not more precise, and you cannot rest your palm on this display because, again, it only emulates your finger, so it doesn't know the difference. Like the tablet doesn't know the difference between pen and finger. It works fine if you just want to sign your name, like let's say I'm Peter and I'm writing my signature here. It will be fine for that. Also for drawing a bit, or maybe even for highlighting when reading an ebook or a PDF, it will work fine with that. But if you want precise drawings, if you want to have precise handwritten notes, then this is not for you. For everything else that's less precise, where it's fine if it's not precise, you can get this kind of capacitive pen. It doesn't have to be this one. This is from Amazon Basics. It can be any one, basically, and it can or even should be cheap. Like, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it. It's basically just a bit of plastic. So you can spend maybe up to $5 US on it, but more I wouldn't spend because you don't get more functionality. So yeah, this is basically how you can use a stylus on the Galaxy Tab A9 and A9 Plus. No great stylus support, but if you want to use one, you can use a capacitive stylus. So you search on Amazon or so for capacitive pen. I will also link one below, and that will work okay. Not great, actually pretty terrible, but it will work okay. And we're ending with a pretty nice security feature. My girlfriend's phone just got stolen, and it would be handy to have that activated. For this, we go to Lock Screen, then we go to Secure Lock Settings. We have to put in our PIN, and then you can turn on Auto Factory Reset. Basically, if somebody tries to unlock your tablet 20 times incorrectly, it wipes your phone. It deletes all data, all apps, everything is basically set back to the factory settings. It's a factory reset. So if somebody wants to try to steal your data and will try a pattern or face unlock with a printout of your face or something too many times and it fails, it will just wipe everything and your data is secured. At least nobody will see it. So these were a couple of tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy Tab A9 series, the A9 Plus and the small A9. If you want to get as much out of your tablet as possible, then also check out mynexttablet.com. That's our website. There we've got a couple of how-to articles, for instance, how to use your Android tablet as a monitor, but also tons of best lists that show you which are the best shooter games for your Android tablet, for instance, or which is the best notes app for your Samsung tablet. Check out mynexttablet.com.